Hey all, so I thought I'd try to make another quick video. It's been a bit since my last one. I was going to try to get it up sooner, but things have been crazy. I believe what I was going to talk about was kind of like my recovery time in San Francisco and what went on while I was there. If I have to, I'll make this a two-part because I don't want a super long video. And I'm trying to write down all the questions, so maybe I'll just do a question and answer video instead of trying to add them in as I go, because I don't want to forget anything or bring up something from another video, so I'll probably try to do that. Anyway, so I think the last video we left off with me and my hospital experience, so we'll segue from that. Um, After about 6-ish days, I left the hospital and I went back to my Airbnb, which we were like on the upper inner Sunset area, so we were kind of like up on the hill, about a 15-minute cab ride from where the Davies campus is, where I got my surgery. And so recovery was rough. Like, I know the first night that I got home, I literally ordered a Whopper and I ate it, and like I couldn't even see it. I couldn't see much of anything for the first little while. My eyes were really bad, and then we kind of figured out that the meds that I was on, while I needed them for pain meds, they were like messing with my eyes and my head. So I did continue to take them, but at one point I did have to get like migraine medication because I was getting migraines from the medication, but also like where we were, how I said it was upper Sunset. So the way that it is the Airbnb that we were at, it was beautiful, it was awesome, the people were great. Um, but the living room windows were huge and they had no blinds at all. And I was spending like all my time in the living room because downstairs, where I had shown in my previous video, it was quite lonely to be downstairs alone. So I actually moved upstairs a couple days after I came back from the hospital and slept on the couch and stayed upstairs. It was far more comfortable, and it was just nicer to not be alone because I could hear my family, but they were mainly upstairs. So I was downstairs by myself, and it was just like kind of depressing. So I moved upstairs. Um, so the sun comes out, but it's warmer, obviously, down in the city more. And when we're up on the hill, it's not that it's too cold, but man, I will tell you, the fog that is up there is ridiculous. Um, Pretty much from the time we woke up in the morning until like noon or 1 o'clock, there was like massive fog, and then it would clear up and be really nice. And you could see the Golden Gate Bridge from where we were in the park and San Francisco Bay and all that jazz. Um, but then in the afternoon, like at around like maybe 4 or 5, it would start to get foggy again. So being up on the hill and having those big windows, the fog is super white, so it's worse almost than having the sunshine in, and then also it kind of feels like it's blanketing you. So it kind of felt a little claustrophobic at times. Did I say that right? Either way, yeah, it felt like that at times. I'm not gonna lie, it was super rough. Like the first week or so, I had to have people help me move around. Like I remember, I wanted to try to go. I had to go to the bathroom, number two, and I literally had to get my dad and my wife to like pick up, pick me up from under my arms and grab my feet so that they could like. They carried me in under my arms, and then they had to like literally like put me on the toilet. Um, I spent a lot of time sleeping. I took the pain medications as I was supposed to because I didn't want anything rough to happen. The first week or two, there wasn't much to notice because I had my catheter in. Each week, I went to go see Dr. Safer at his office, and I also went and saw my microsurgeon, Dr. Chen, twice before I left. Throughout those weeks, it was just me literally sitting around taking care of myself, making sure I was taking meds, eating, taking the odd walk and stuff like that. I didn't do anything crazy because whenever I had to go for an appointment, there was a little bit of a walk and I had to like maneuver in the cabs and stuff. It was pretty decent. Most of the cab rides cost like, I'd say like $15 to $20 ish were most of the cab rides. Um, it wasn't for those of us who are having surgery, you actually have like COVID tests already booked and set up for you usually. I had to go back in for a second surgery before I left because after week two, we noticed that I had an opening underneath my phallus. So, like at the base of my phallus going up, there was like, it looks bigger, I guess, because it's close to my face, but it was about an inch big. So, that is actually pretty big. And they were hoping that it would close on its own, and that's what we were waiting for. I also had a fistula, but we didn't know where it was. We thought it was actually where that area in my phallus was. We thought that's where I was peeing from when I wasn't using my catheter bag. And I found out when I got home actually because it's where I'll jump to this, but where I am currently urinating from, thanks, Kat. Where I'm currently urinating from is from my original urethra, which is located right now in where my scrotum is, but like my scrotum's not like all completely stitched together. So like, picture I have balls. So then like literally it's like peeing in between where my balls are. So sometimes it's like difficult to pee because you kind of have to move a bit to get it to like open up a little. But at the same time, like it's not the worst. I was obviously upset when I tried to stand to pee and it wasn't happening. I kind of started noticing that I didn't really have what looked like to be an opening on the tip of my phallus. So, from what we're gathering, it's healed closed at the tip. I did have urethral lengthening and hookup, but for me personally, the healing process or whatever, certain areas weren't willing to do what they were supposed to do, and that is very common. I haven't talked to many people who have, but I've been starting to find more people that have issues like me, and they're commenting and saying like I had that issue but I didn't want to talk about it or whatever. So that's why I am talking about it. Like, to be honest, I think if I didn't have a mindset and had my surgery pushed back, I would have been a hot mess and an angry mess. But because I had the extra time and I figured, you know what, I'm gonna go into surgery thinking everything's gonna be great and it's gonna be good. Um, but then also knowing that like I could have complications and fistulas are like super super common. So if people try to tell you that like, oh, if you get a fistula, it's the worst thing in the world, it's not. They can fix it. Most of the time, they heal on their own, but they're super common. So like it's scary, but at the same time, don't let somebody make you think that like because you have a fistula or a stricture or because like you had a gap in between where the stitches didn't heal and it like don't let anybody make you feel like that because that's just gonna put you in a rough mood. So what I tried to do while I was healing was just think like, okay, well, it's a process. I have two more stages coming back for, and if I have to have glandsplasty in one and testicular implants in the other, if I have to have extra stuff done, at least I have the surgery time frame in which to do it. I do have my date booked. It will be on February 25th of 2022, so coming up. Um, I didn't have any issues with the hospital or any doctors after I left the hospital the first time. Um, I'm just trying to think because to be honest, like all I did was sit around, and healing is slow for the first month. So most of it was just me sitting around, really doing nothing. I was in my emotions a lot. I do want to make a separate video about my emotions though, because it carries into other things as well, and I don't feel like it's part necessarily of this. Let me just tell you, I broke down quite a few times. I cried a lot. I had moments of why the fuck did I do this to myself? Did I do the right thing? Like I feel like a fucking monster right now. I feel so detached. Lots of things like that. Like I felt like that, and a lot of it was my mental health that was triggering it to be worse. So I don't really want to get too much into it because at the end of the day, no, I didn't make a mistake. No, I didn't do the wrong thing. Did it turn out perfect? No. Does it look terrible? No. Does it feel terrible? No. Like honestly, the first 2 months of recovery are the worst. The first month is definitely the worst, but like even though everybody says like it gets easier, and you sit there and you're like, fuck you, like it hurts so bad. I'm so angry. This happened, this happened. Like I don't know, like fuck you, man, you're wrong. Like no, like you feel those emotions hardcore when you're watching other people who've already gone through it and you see them on the other side and you're just like sitting there thinking like I don't think I'll reach that other side, man. Like you feel like you're weak and you're actually not at all for the surgery that we have to go through. So again, not a surgery that everybody has to have. It's a surgery based on what your preference and needs are in your life. So make sure that's also what is the biggest part of your decision. So yeah, and then I had to go back for my. I had a last appointment with Doctor Safer, and I had discussed with him how I felt like the area under, like on my phallus that was still open. I wasn't comfortable going home, being so far away because he's in San Francisco, California, USA. I'm from just outside Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So I didn't want to be caught somewhere and not have anybody know how to help me. So I asked them if they thought it was a good idea if we went back in and put some extra stitches in just in areas where it is needed. And at that time, because we didn't know where the fistula was, uh, it was just a matter of like they sewed up wherever let loose from my original first surgery. So yeah, I think it was a week after I came home I found out that like I was peeing from between my scrotum. Um, So they agreed and they said that that would be the best idea because they're not close enough to be able to help me. However, the Crane Center and Dr. Safer have been amazing. I can email, text, or call, and I get a response either within like, I can get a response anywhere between like an hour or like within the day. Usually I don't wait longer than a day to hear back from them, which is amazing. Also, Dr. Safer had given me all of his contact information so that I could pass that along to my hormone doctor, my GP, to relay any information or if they had any concerns when I came home, which that will be something that I will talk about as well when I get into another video because there was something that happened, but it wasn't. It was made to be this huge thing, and it was just a pain in my ass. And either way, but I'm kind of glad also that we didn't find the fistula because if they would have closed up the fistula that I have right now, because my phallus, the urethra within my phallus, we don't know if it healed all the way or if the tip just healed closed. So in my next surgery that I go for, they're actually going to be fixing that for me and looking into like where, what, and how. So I'm not overly worried because these are all things that they fix on a regular basis. Um, the plane ride was decent, even though I had surgery on the Thursday before I left. I had surgery on a Thursday, and then I went home on the Saturday. Um, I took pillows with me almost everywhere that I went. I used a cane. Um, I took Doculax whenever I felt like I was not able to go to the bathroom because you do not want to force anything. Two Doculax usually gets you to a point where it's like you're okay. You can go take a number two and you will be fine. You don't have to be worried. It's still scary. The first one is scary as hell. I will tell you that. But definitely take something like Doculax whenever you feel like you might need to, or if you feel like you're kind of like not going as frequently as you would like or are used to, you know, just to make sure that you feel okay because all the meds from surgery and stuff will back you up and you'll get back pains. Definitely recommend getting some like muscle and joint rub for your neck. Uh, it will definitely help. Sorry, I'm saying so much. I'm trying to think. It's been like 2 months and 10 days or so since I had my surgery, so I am really just trying to think of everything. But to be honest with you guys, the recovery in the Airbnb was literally just sitting around. Like, I found out like there's a Tosh.0 channel on one of the apps on the TV. I had no idea. Fail Army channel. Literally, they just play it all day long. If you're American, I'm sure you know. I did not know this. I just see it on YouTube. Uh, but either way, yeah, so getting to the airport, I will say during COVID, this is not to do with specifically phalloplasty, but if you are traveling during COVID out of the country, there's a lot of forms and a lot of things that you have to have ready and done before you can even like get through the airport. And those things are easy-ish once you have them and you get through the airport. but when you're going on the computer to get them and filling them out, it's quite a bit of stuff. So like give yourself a good amount of time to make sure that you have everything all in order so that you don't make your travel home more stressful than it needs to be. Like I said, definitely bring a pillow with you on the plane. I used it just behind my back. It helped stabilize me and sit better. Our flight was a 5 hour flight. We did a one way specifically so that I wouldn't have to be on a plane because our flight out there, like I said before, was supposed to be a one way and it ended up being, we had one stop, but it ended up being a 15-hour day of traveling. So post op, that wouldn't have been great for me. But the 5 hours on the plane, waiting in the airport for like 2.5 hours, and then getting back to the Toronto airport and then driving home, like that wasn't too bad. By the time we got home, I was like, "Oh, I'm done. Like I'm done for today." But overall, it was pretty decent. Try not to drink a lot before you go on the plane because plane bathrooms are small, gross, and it's sometimes hard to stand up on, especially if like you've used one of your legs as your donor because your balance might be off for a bit. So try to not drink a lot on the plane so that you don't have to go to the bathroom as frequently. I myself went home with a catheter bag because of the surgery that I had prior on the Thursday. So I was able to just drain my catheter bag, but they gave me one that attaches to like your leg, and I'm super short, and it literally almost ended up around my ankle. So that wasn't as fun because I can't bend down to do that, so I had to shorten it before we ended up on the plane and stuff. But yeah, definitely make sure you do your bathroom stuff because it's not fun to try to maneuver your way. And a lot of the times in the airports where your gate is, there might not be a bathroom on the same level, which is an issue that I had leaving the US when we were at the San Francisco airport. They kept taking my wheelchair away and giving it to other people. And then we would ask for one because I'd say like I have to go to the bathroom, but like I'm waiting for somebody to take me, and then I'd have to wait for one of the airport people to come get me, even though my wife was there to like take me. And then they were just gonna take me to the regular men's bathroom and like be like, okay, go ahead, whatever. And then so my wife had to tell him like, no, like he has to use the bathroom for family because I have to help him. And then like I didn't even get to take the wheelchair in the bathroom. They literally like just like put it sideways outside the door and said like go ahead. And then like when I got back into Canada, it was like the easiest thing for me to get a wheelchair. There was like one sitting there. My wife asked the lady, "Do you have any wheelchairs? My husband needs one." And she's like, "I'm the only one working the gate right now, but if you could wait a minute, I can go get you one after the plane is like all unloaded." And there was actually one around the corner, and my wife was just like, "Can we just take that one?" And she was like, "If you can push him on your own, then that's fine." So actually, my wife got to push me through the airport throughout the whole time in Canada, and I even got to like, I pushed myself, to be honest too. I use the wheelchair myself as well. But in the States, like they wouldn't let me use it myself. They wouldn't let anybody else push me, and they would like take it away constantly. And it was very annoying because like to have to walk through the airport and then also like into the plane, down that thing, across whatever, like on the plane is fine because it's not too far, but like that long hallway and then like everything, it's a lot. You don't want to walk a lot, you don't want to bend, you're still new to everything, and it's scary because you may be traveling back home and you might not be close to where your surgeon is. But what you should do is make sure that your last appointment is one where you try to remember everything. Make sure to get contact information so that if you do have questions, they can be answered when you are back home. um, Ask as many questions you can, write it down if you feel you need to, all that jazz. I don't think I have too much to say. Like I said, it was not much. I know this is a 20-minute video for me not telling you guys much. I did have moments though. I had moments where when I got the valve for my catheter bag so that I could try to pee on my own and I could just leave the valve turned off, or I could turn it on and use the catheter, the catheter to pee out of. And there was 3 or 4 times that um, the catheter valves, sometimes they don't stay in when you move around a lot, and so I started taping them with medical tape, but I was using paper tape, and that worked for a bit because I had the valve come off of the catheter hose, and so I peed everywhere. I was not happy the first time it happened. Second time it happened, I wasn't happy either, but the tape will get worn down, so unless you can get tape that is waterproof, or you keep, like, just keep an eye on the catheter valve if you have one of those, because, like, I don't know what, but it's like mine just, the valve didn't want to stay in. I ended up, like, peeing myself, like, 4 times. The last time I did it was like in the middle of the night, and I had taken my meds, and I was getting up to get a drink, and somehow I don't know if like maybe I bumped into something or I pulled on something, but like the valve came off, and I was a little dopey, and I was just like, oh fuck, and out comes my dad and my mom and my wife, and they're all like cleaning my pee up off the floor while I'm just like, well, I guess it happens. And normally I would be angry as F. So it was actually just one of those moments where you kind of have to just like laugh at the situation or be like, okay, well, this isn't the worst it could get. So, roll with it. If you have any questions, please comment below. I do try to check my inboxes. You can also go to Transfellas on Instagram and you can ask questions there. I promise I will do a video of all the questions asked. I'm just deciding to compile them into one video instead of making a disaster video. I think that's it, to be honest. Like, it sounds like nothing, it really does. But if you have specific questions, then you can ask them and I can answer them more in depth. But that's pretty much the rundown of the time that I spent from leaving the hospital to getting on the plane to come back home. My next video will be me being at home and the things that I've gone through in the month of being home. And then after that, I will do a video about my upcoming surgery and what will be going on. I don't have like detailed blueprint plans of everything, but I know the gist of what's going on. It shouldn't be a long video at all, but I will let everybody know what my stage 2 will be, because it's not just a basic glandsplasty. I do have some fix-ups, so I just want to make sure that everybody knows that, like, stuff happens, nothing's ever perfect, and you just gotta kind of give yourself a break and have some trust in yourself and in the people that you chose to care for you, and hopefully everything will turn out dandy, because usually at the end of these, everybody usually, like, almost everybody turns out dandy in the end. We all just have different paths, and some are bumpier than others. So if yours is a bumpy ride, just know that you're a motherfucking awesome person who killed it. And if you had a smoother ride, you know, that's awesome too. Like, hats off to you. It's amazing that your body and you were able to make it through such a complex surgery and not have any huge complications. So kudos to you, and kudos to anybody who goes through a rough patch, either whether it's physically or mentally after. There's a lot of people out here. Not everybody wants to talk about it. Not everybody wants to talk about their genitals and what is not right with them when there was already something wrong initially with them. So, yeah, feel free. I hope everybody had a great Halloween. I hope everybody's doing well. Sorry that my videos aren't as cohesive as they might normally be. I don't even know if they're different. You guys can tell me. Anyhow, I will talk to you later. Peace.